Okay, everybody. GM, it seems to have fixed the problem. So, welcome to everybody who is joining us in the One Hive server Discord, and anybody who is now tuning in on YouTube. We should be streaming there with decent quality. That was the reason for our delay here. Gonna have to take up some beef with my ISP. At any rate, hope everybody had a good weekend. GM again, Edu, and. Once again, folks, you've got to YouTube 1HTV. We're streaming live. Got some cool on-screen content. So if you really want the full TV effect, check us out on YouTube. I do apologize for the delay, man. How you doing?
I am good to go, no problem. This is the perks of the internet shows. Anything can happen. So, back to you.
Hey, yeah, man. Well, it's about time to kick it off here, and I know we got some great DAO news lined up for today. Um, if you want to take it away, Edu, we're going to have the snapshot up on screen over there on YouTube.
Sure.
So if you want to see what it is we're talking about, as well as catch some of the links on screen, head over to 1HTV YouTube. But yeah, man, let's get started with the news.
Would you like to, before we start with the news, explain a little bit about what's coming for this week on the One Hive TV calendar?
Yeah, man, we can. I figure I know we got a little light start here, so I wanted to get into it with folks. But we'll do a quick plug for that, and we got a little advertisement to share with people later. We'll try to queue up here and sort of repeat the schedule periodically. This week we have, of course, our Monday show live right now, and we also have late night with Billy Jitsu tomorrow. That'll be 6 p.m. Eastern, and the broadcast location is still TBD. We're going to try to do Twitter Spaces, I think, if possible. But of course, we'll be streaming to YouTube, 1HTV, as always, on YouTube. And we'll also be posting highlights to there, as well as the original One Hive YouTube channel. On Wednesdays, we have our weekly show, NFTs and Gaming, hosted by Dosh and Solar, also something you do not want to miss. And that'll be it for this week. We had, let's see, the replays, both of Monday and Wednesday show last week, as well as the awesome Spanish language and music listening show last Thursday. If you want to hear some really awesome Latin American indie, specifically Mexican indie rock and psychedelic music, head over to 1HTV the 1HTV YouTube, and you can check out the broadcast from last Thursday. We are going to be trying to create a music playlist. We're going to be trying to organize everything on the 1HTV YouTube into playlists in general, one of which hopefully will be song by song music playlists for the music that you're going to hear on Thursdays. This is stuff that Miguel, who hosts and really runs, runs point on the show itself and coordinates everybody who helps make it happen. The music that you would hear on Thursdays are almost all exclusively bands that he himself has produced, and so he owns the rights to all the music, and it's something that he's excited to share with all of you. So check that out if you're interested. Big idea here is, of course, a live streaming network about all things crypto related. And so if you're interested in participating, contributing, or launching content, you can head over to the 1HTV Discord, and we'll drop a link in the One Hive TV chat here in the One Hive Discord.
Thank you for that, Ted. So basically, we can start with the news. Is that okay?
Take it away, sir. Absolutely.
All right. The first one for today it's sushi. So basically, it has a two-part proposal, if you want to think on that way. So basically, this proposal made by Sushi, it's explained on a little bit, and on the explanation, they say, as our recent market dynamics have shown, crypto asset prices remain highly volatile. And Sushi Treasury is currently denominated entirely in Sushi. And while this provides great upside for the Treasury, it also leaves the Treasury quite vulnerable in the event of a market dislocation. And since the Treasury has no other income rather than Sushi emissions, which will end in 2 to 3 years, it is important to create an income model that is sustainable on the long term. And this will be done by introducing a payout ratio to start retaining some earnings in the Treasury. The suggested approach is to divert a portion of the trading fees into a reserve asset and send it to the treasury as retained earnings. The governance can decide what to do with. This is a two-part proposal. This first one being the vote on executing the implementation, and the second one being the vote on the value of the initial payout ratio. So far, the vote is in favor of the implementation, and this in the second vote, people are in favor of a 90% payout ratio. Have you seen something like this before, Ted?
Trying to think. Nothing specifically akin to this here. I don't think so. And I haven't been following like the sushi forum recently, but this is really interesting.
Yeah. So these proposals basically started on April 19th and they end today. And on the second part, which means the part of the ratios, they had three options. They have the option of 90%, they had the option of abstain, or they have the option of 95. So far, then, as I mentioned before, the 90% is the one winning with 88.4% approval, with 6.6 million sushi tokens on that. And then the abstain comes second with 11% and 825k sushi tokens. You have so far 512 voters on these proposals, and you can see in the voter section that there's two huge whales that put 3.2 million sushi and 3 million sushi on the 90% option. So we could safely assume that without this sushi, it will probably be a tie or something very close to a tie in between the abstain and the 90%.
Yeah, I mean, you see there that the two top whales pretty much demolish the required quorum among themselves, right? So this is interesting.
Yeah.
I have to read more into this. Like, what's going on? Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. I was just going to say that the quorum is 5 million, and both proposals overpass that with 7.5 million. What were we gonna say?
I mean, I think definitely I need to look at the specifics more closely, but the concept of treasury diversification to hedge against bear market conditions as the theme is definitely something a lot of DAOs are exploring and pursuing. Some with some earlier than others, I would say. A related note here, I guess, would call to mind something on the Shapeshift side. Their treasury management has a stated goal of generating 10 million in stablecoins. Through tokenomics, partnerships, etc., with various projects on mainnet in particular. And so, yeah, I mean, some people are just further down the field, but I think this definitely fits into a larger narrative there. I'll be curious to learn a little bit more specifically how this works within the sushi ecosystem. Maybe some people in the audience are big sushi fans, or you've been a holder for a while. This might be something that you'd be interested in commenting on. If so, One Hive TV chat channel in Discord, or feel free to drop a comment in YouTube.
Yeah, and they also explain a little bit more in detail in the proposal, and they say, for example, the treasuries current near 100% sushi allocation could prove to be a risky in the event of a prolonged bear market. So the treasury is in need of expanding its ongoing diversification efforts, as T will mention, and they also continue saying that by diverting a portion of the fees to the treasury, this will give sushi enough revenue every year to cover operational expenses and also an ample surplus to invest in low-risk assets to further diversify the treasury and bring in non-operating income. For example, yield farming, providing liquidity in sushi swaps, taking ETH, and so on. So it's interesting. I like the idea that it brings sustainability to the operational expenses also.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think people see the possibility for a prolonged downturn, probably due largely to macro events and other things. But yeah, it's good to see that. There's a lot of, again, I try not to have feels either way, right? It's some people feel really strongly about sushi and they want to burn it to the ground or whatever. That's cool. I don't take a position. I'm not taking a position on the project, but I do think it's interesting that you still have this. There are always going to be people who are continuing to like remain active in these larger, I guess blue chip projects, even through times like this. It I don't know. It's somewhat of a testament to like, people's willingness to find opportunities in times when other people are like having significant doubts, right? So big ups to the people that are continuing to try to work to build back the Sushi project.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And they have another proposal that I didn't get too deep into in the sushi snapshot that also ends today, and it's basically an implementation of let's get toke. Toke seems to be a token. I have no idea what toke voting is. And they explain this proposal is the proposal expectation is to produce an implementation. And they say that the Sushi Treasury currently has around 41,000 toke that could be utilized for staking at a potential APR between 16 to 31%. And the main initiative is to make Sushi. You want to say something, T?
No, it's all you, man.
Oh, sorry. The main initiative is to make Sushi's treasury more productive, and the GL earn will help sustain the protocol in the long run. It could be used to help cover the fees for setting up the Sushi station, operation fees, and so on. Do you know what is a toke?
Yeah,
token?
yeah. Tokamak is a project that I think it's a good one to learn about. I don't claim to like understand the ins and outs of it at a mathematical level, etc. But the concept itself is something that is interesting, and it's one that again I'm familiar mostly via Shapeshift's work. Shapeshift was, I think, the winner of the second cohort. So like, let me get it up on screen here 1 second. It's a unique tool for like protocol liquidity, basically, specifically paired with USDC and Ether. So again, I'm showing the UI on screen right now if you're watching on YouTube. But like, it's definitely worth checking out their docs. Maybe we could even do like a segment of a Monday show on something like this. To my knowledge, this has not been forked off mainnet. So like, unlike Olympus or some other projects that were super popular and created and founded and became popular in last year, to my knowledge, and then were subsequently forked into oblivion on every side chain. I don't think that has happened with Tokamak, and again, I could be wrong about this, and if people in the audience know differently about Tokamak or like experts in this, please weigh in, because I actually do think that this is like a really important primitive. And we're gonna have Willie on from Shapeshift in a couple weeks, by the way, as a guest on Monday, and he can walk us through this, like, because Willie's the man. It's really as simple as that. But Tokamak hasn't been forked off mainnet, and I think that's because the project itself has an enormous amount of Ether and USDC. Like, in order for the tool to work, you kind of the protocol has to like have an enormous amount of those two things. And that's the moat, basically. Like, you could probably fork the code, but you couldn't make it happen in the same way. And the idea here is that different projects, there's like a period where different projects compete for a Tokamak what's called a reactor. And let me see if I can get here they are. So the top projects right now, I think they're on screen, although let me double check. Here, core. Okay, so you got to shift over to core, and you'll see the number one right now is Shapeshift. And these are these like what are called reactor cores. So these are the winners. And I think Sushi, it wasn't here. Sushi was on the previous cohort, I think. I know they were on the first one. Anyways, I'm almost positive. The idea is that toke rewards, the token toke, Edu, that you're referring to, it has a unique utility, and in part, and most importantly, it's like a governance token similar to Curve that the largest holders, be they individuals or DAOs, can basically direct USDC and Ether liquidity to pair with their project tokens across, I think, like various dexes and protocols on mainnet. So basically, being a whale in tokamak enables you to really maintain deep liquidity with your project token on mainnet, if that makes sense. And then I've been talking too much, so sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I feel like I didn't know about Toke or Toke. I don't know how it's pronounced. That's why I didn't research that much. I did see that the description is really easy. Like Tokamak, it's a generalized crypto liquidity aggregator for decentralized exchanges. And just to trying to explain that simple phrase, it's quite complex.
Dude, this thing is
So
this is one of the more
we
complex projects.
It seems like, I mean, just the idea of a generalized crypto liquidity aggregator for decentralized exchanges. So yeah, that's tricky.
I'll drop the link to their docs in the chat, folks. But yeah, it's interesting.
What I love the on Google, when you Google the project, is that it's basically the first question that says is, what is tokamak?
Yeah, I think it's, for people who are interested, it's worth a read, even if you're just like a layman like I am. I don't have any technical abilities or knowledge. I'd like to maybe at some point get somebody like Billy's take on this project, because I definitely see it as like a blue chip on mainnet. But I know maybe other people don't see it that way. I don't know. It's a unique liquidity tool, we'll put it that way. It does things differently. Like it's not a fork of something else. It's actually a unique concept unto itself.
Yeah. So that's on the end of Sushi. We can move to Bankless. Is that okay?
Go in there now.
So season 4 of Bankless DAO. This is the proposal for the specification of the season 4 for Bankless. And they explain the timeline, and that it will start on May the 2nd up to July the 29th. And if that proposal that we're talking about passes, there will be some specifications that will fall into place. The first one is that the season 4 will not include a cap on project and guild funding through the grants committee, though the grants committee will review the budgets. The second is that the guilds and projects budget greater than 100,000 bank will be requested to use KPIs, milestones, and reporting. The third one is that 11.5 million bank are allocated for the grants committee, and 7 million for the interseason funding, and 4.5 million for contributors rewards. And the grants committee compensation is for 400K bank, and the ombuds compensation is for 222,000 bank. So, have you ever engaged on any of the seasons of Bankless, T-Wells?
I have not. I mean, I've been, following them, and obviously we have been reporting on, Bankless on a regular basis here on the show. So, but that's been more or less my orientation. I mean, of course, I know folks that contribute or have contributed there in the past, and we've commented in the past about how well organized and presented all of their proposals are. And frankly, I think we're sort of in a unique position to be saying that, because we're looking at a lot of different proposals. Like Bankless is always
correct,
the clearest, concisest, most professionally done stuff. So I'll say that every time, because I think it's true.
There is a funny fact from this proposal on the authors. One of the authors, it's called Above Average Joe. And it's funny because we have this person called Disruption Joe. So it's like, is there a DAO of Joes around that I'm not aware of? Like, like a bunch of people have different versions of Joe. It's like a multiverse kind of Joe worlds. Sorry, that was just a rant.
No, I think Joe. We're gonna have to do this, right? We're gonna have to definitely ask Disruption Joe about this. Get him on the show. And just pitch Joe's metaverse. I think you're onto something.
Literally. So this proposal was started on April 21, and it ends in 3 days, in April the 28th. 28th, and it has been so far with 100% approval vote, 16 million bank and 0 bank on the deny. So you can talk about consensus there, and then 248 voters on this. And if you click on the link for the full specifications, it's a huge document of 9 pages that goes through all the specifications, the back and forth, and all the details you will like to know about this season 4 that will just started. What I like also is the idea that if you request, sorry for the ambulance that is passing next to my house. Give me a moment. There you go. So they specify that if you request amounts greater than 100,000 bank, you will be required to identify KPIs, milestones, and report and submit a report. So I think that is quite healthy. I will do that even for 40K or 20K if you request that amount. I don't know how the bank token is at the moment. Let me take a look. Which is the price at the moment? It says it's 0.05.
Yeah, I'll try to get it up on screen here. One of the things I noticed as you're talking there, and when you hit up the numbers of voters, just in looking at different proposals across different DAOs, it's always interesting to see which DAOs have people voting with their ENS names, right? And in this case, you look at Bankless, and it's like all the major whales are doing that. But in the case of Sushi, it wasn't the case. I just find that interesting. Sort of, there's some interesting data to be mined there, maybe at a cultural level. It's fascinating.
So I was thinking, this was a lot of money, but at the same time, it is not because it's all in bank token. So how much 100K will be in bank token? Right now, the price is 0.4. So we can do a fast calculation on this.
I got their token price chart up on the screen. I'm not sure if you can see on YouTube edit, but they're coming up. It looks like they're coming up.
No, I can see it. Yeah.
I don't know if this is the exact date where they went live with it, but given the fact that it's bankless, I imagine it's relatively accurate. So they're coming up on a year, it looks like, from issuance.
Yeah. But like it's quite short in amount, I may say, because basically it's $4,000, 100,000 bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like 4,400.
So if you're requesting more than 4K, you'll be requested to use KPIs. Okay. We will see.
Hey man, I think that's a really important point to make. And I agree 100%. Like, and I would take it a step further and say I had thought about this for One Hive TV or for One HTV for the last proposal, but just decided to wait to add this layer of complexity. But I'd really like to partner with DXDAO and use their carrot and like integrate their carrot tokens, like basically embed KPI tokens into proposals, or even in terms of like our internal operations. Because to your point, I think that it's important to have those things that are like quantifiable goals, and then be able to like put them on chain basically, would be really cool. And that's like super nerdy, but I think we should be doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that it will be unavoidable for most of the DAOs to have certain level of KPIs or data regarding the money they have been investing, because at the beginning all is fun, all is good, but then when you're getting short of money, when the token doesn't value the same or whatever, you sort of want to look back and say, oh, where did that money go to?
Yeah.
And I think this kind of information allows you to make better decisions. So I agree on that.
I agree, man. And I'll just say like, and I'll put it on the screen. So give me a second here. Not financial advice. Nothing we say on the show is ever financial advice. But I mean, I'd be amiss not to say how well Honey's performed in the last couple of weeks. Am I right? Like I'm seeing,
Yes, you're about right.
we're seeing double-digit drawdowns in some of these altcoins, and we're like, let's see, Honey right now is holding steady at less than 1% down. So we chilling, peeps. We good. The bag holders were found, right? You see, that's what happened in the last bottom,
Right.
in my opinion. Right? The bag holders were found, and we ain't selling. So there's that. GM, everybody.
All right, and then we can move on to the heavyweight of this week, which is Arbitrum Odyssey. Is that okay?
Yeah, man. Let me get that up there. This is from what you shared in DM, yeah?
Correct. So, I guess I don't need to explain what is Arbitrum. But basically, Arbitrum Odyssey, they have their own snapshot, and if you go to the Arbitrum Odyssey snapshot, you will see something very peculiar. You will see 14 polls on their snapshot, and that's the only vote they had up for. So what are these 14 snapshots about? And it's an interesting project, the Arbitrum Odyssey one. And if you click on any of this snapshot, you will see that there is a poll in between four projects and so on. So basically, these proposals that started on April the 14th and ended on April the 16th was to pick a winner, if you want to think of it that way. So on April the 13th, the Arbitrum Odyssey was announced. They took 56 of the most active projects on Arbitrum and randomized them into 14 pools of 4. These 14 pools of 4 are the ones on the snapshot. And all of this was streamed to a link. So it was going to be sort of live stream. You had around 6,000 people watching the stream at the time that I saw. And basically, they streamed that so everyone could cheer up and show up for their favorite projects. And from there, the communities of each project voted on who gets to participate in the Odyssey. Of the 56 team, 14 winners will proceed and get an exclusive NFT design for the participants in those projects. So it's a little bit complex, and the guy who explained this on the Twitch stream also apologized for the explanation because it was complex for some folks. So basically, he randomized pair these 56 projects. For example, in the Arbitrum Odyssey poll 14, they paired Sushi, Chromatica, D-Force, and Strips Finance. And all of this was random. So the idea is that we got 14 winners, which are GL Protocol, Hashflow, Abor Exchange, 2Font, Uniswap, Apex, 1inch, Izumi plus Gene Finance, Dodo, Treasure DAO, Swapper, Butterfly, Idea Market, Sushi, and Sushi. Sorry, Sushi is the last one. And those are the 14 projects who will go into Arbitrum Odyssey. Do you have time to take a look at the Twitch stream, T-Walls?
I saw part of the Twitch stream. I don't want to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw part of the Twitch stream. Don't want to put it up on the screen here. I'm afraid I'm gonna like overload my shit here. But I do have a Medium snap, and I'll also put I put the link to this in chat as well. I put a link to the Twitch link that you are referring to, Edu, in both YouTube and here in the Discord chat. And this Medium article, I believe, has the most up-to-date, right? I think it should have the winners. I don't think so, actually. I think they only have those that are, like, in it. Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, I had to believe that it was because it was just launched. So they are taking their time. They are taking their time, basically.
Right on. I'm seeing if I can get like a picture of
So yeah,
the winners. Or do you have like a link
no
that we could
problem.
share? Uh,
No, the winners is basically the top ones from every vote. So I guess they haven't make any big announcement yet. Um, these proposals finished 5 days ago, a little bit more, 9 days ago. Sorry. Um, so I guess they are still on the process. They specify the timeline, and it's quite all. It will take time. It's not something that will happen from one day to the other one. But the interesting part of the Odyssey project, the Arbitrum Odyssey, is the idea of it's an NFT basically project. They are they have an NFT crafted and designed by artists called Rodwell and Sugoi. I've never heard of them, but they seem, by the description of the medium, it seems to be very well known. Um, so basically, they partner with them in order to launch this, and it's like a sort of big project, I believe. So they start with the broadcast on April the 13th, where they took this 56 of the most active projects. I would like to know, like, based on what they picked these 56. But anyways, they randomized them into 14 pools of four, and yeah. So the idea is that they don't specify when they will start. They only say that it will start on mid of May. The journey, the Odyssey. That's why the name. The Odyssey will start on the mid of May. And the first week will involve onboarding assets into Arbitrum with their bridge or any of the supported bridges, exchanges, or ROMs that are listed. So basically, if you use their week, if you during that week, if you use their bridge, you will earn. And if that by randomly that bridge that you use is one of the top ones, then you get an NFT. That's what they describe a little bit on the Twitch stream. Um, and they also say that users that use a third-party decentralized bridge that has the most addresses bridge in ETH tokens will also receive a bonus NFT. Once the onboarding week is over, the journey will begin, and every week for 7 weeks, two projects will task their users to complete an on-chain tasks specific to their protocol. And users will be able to claim RBverse NFT for completion of every task, representing their involvement in this initiative. The claims will take place on the Project Galaxy website. The mints will be completely free, but you will need ETH in Arbitrum to pay the transactions fee to claim the free NFT. If a user collects at least 12 of the 15 NFT through this journey, they will receive a final Rodwell and Sugoi design NFT indicating the completion of their journey into the Arbiverse. So yeah. So basically the idea is if you are part of these 16 projects, you will create tasks for your users on Arbitrum, and they will complete these tasks. You will earn NFT. So it's like a huge almost 8 weeks journey to, one, I guess, gain tractions and from the most used tools in Arbitrum, and also, of course, gain new people, bridge new people from other places to Arbitrum in order for them to gain visibility. And of course, if your protocol, if your DX was the most used, and it sort of will be point more people into that direction too. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is obviously a big push Arbitrum's making for adoption. And I had a couple of things that came to mind. I mean, the first one here, if we want to go a step deeper on YouTube, I'm showing the Tubby Cats on OpenSea, which is one of the main projects from Ratwell. And let's see. Got over 9,000 owners. Again, that can be somewhat of a subjective term. But the Tubby Cats right now, floor price of about a quarter ETH and over near 17,000 ETH in volume. Now, some of this stuff, I hate reading volume numbers because that shit can be gamed so easy, right? But I don't know. I haven't really looked into the Tubby Cats. There's some interesting art here, but there's definitely two artists that they're like verified, I think both on Twitter and on OpenSea, that would be issuing these, finish line NFTs. I think it's really, my initial reaction is that it's a really cool way to it's a somewhat unique way, right? Basically partnering with NFT artists to get adoption for the chain. Folks, this alpha, right? So if you're interested in, I would say it's alpha for this stated part that Edu's sharing, as well as the fact that, it's kind of been reflected in some tweets of so-called thought leaders. I don't know what these people are. I don't know what that even means. But Kobe tweeted recently about the optimism. Basically, L2s are probably gonna tokenize at some point. So if you haven't gone to Arbitrum yet and used it, it's probably a good idea in general. And then now with this Odyssey program, you have an even greater reason, I guess, to go do it.
Correct. It's like an incentive gamify initiative, and at the same time, yes, you also give. If you already use Arbitrum, if you already use these tools, it will give you sort of a payback in a way if you enroll into the Odyssey. It will give you some extra, whatever you want to call it, extra gift, extra incentive for something you are already using. And then on top of that, of course, there's the NFT craziness. So people will probably enroll just to gain NFTs. If they do it for the POAPs, right, well, of course they will do it for NFT. So yeah. I don't know. It's the first time I see. I have seen a lot of onboarding through NFTs, but I have never seen. Imagine Ethereum doing something like this, or any other project that not only use NFT, but they use their own ecosystem to onboard more people to it. We're talking about across partnerships because they are relying on these projects to put up tasks on chain for them to be completed. And it's every week. So there has been, I am assuming there has been some big collaboration here on the back, because if you're expecting every of these projects to, put up a task and make sure that it's up and every week, so it's one task per project. That's a lot of coordination to happen. So looking forward to see. Yep. This is gonna, as I mentioned before, this is gonna happen in supposedly on the in mid-May. So yeah, and it starts with an onboarding. So we will see how this develops, and I am waiting for them to announce the winners that are already on the snapshot, and see what will be the next steps after that. What do you think?
Yeah, man. If people have feelings about L2s, maybe anybody in the audience that's got a experience operating on Arbitrum, or any feelings about Arbitrum in general, or anybody could make like a constructive comparison specifically with Optimism, because like at a technical level I don't really know the difference, to be honest. I haven't used Optimism very much, but I use Arbitrum a good deal, right? And so I can definitely say, right, you have smooth, fast transaction times that are orders of magnitude more expensive than XDAI, but like also only a fraction of what you'd pay on mainnet. So it's one of these things where you're getting better security, but you pay for it. But it's still, like, I think recently it's well under $1 USD. It's like less than $1. So on XDAI, or rather on Gnosis Chain, it's sub-cent transactions. On Arbitrum, it's sub-dollar. So it's not small, right? But it's for me personally, I feel it's worth it, right? Because of the additional security that it gives you. And so now you sort of have a good excuse to go and check it out there. The last thing I'll say is, again, not financial advice, but I feel like an NFT distribution like this could definitely be used for dropping the Arbitrum token, right? I mean, it would certainly seem that there would be overlap should that happen in the future. So like, as with all things crypto, taking advantage and like being a user, specifically when they're like, hey, come take advantage and be a user, is probably a good idea.
Yeah, there is this guy called Olympia.eth that I also explained this possibility. He says, this is better than blatantly airdropping tokens to everyone who interacted with the blockchain. Creating an entry barrier will allow more determined users to get a higher allocation of tokens, since fewer users will be eligible overall. That is his take on this situation of the Odyssey one.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I obviously that makes total sense. Well, look, GM everybody. I want to say just for a second, thanks for everybody for joining us here on the Discord. If you're watching on YouTube, but obviously this is fresh here. You got plenty of time to do it. So Alpha here on the Monday show. Thanks to Edu's research. I appreciate you, man. I think you're putting everybody in a good position to take advantage of the next frontier of L2s. Looks like Arbitrum's making off-chain labs is making moves here.
And the involvement was heavy. They have very low barrier for voting on this Arbitrum thing. They had only a 0.002 ETH to be able to vote. So yeah, Arbitrum. We'll see how this develops and how this Odyssey sort of launched. And then we have two extra topics to discuss before we reach the top of the hour. The first one is just a reminder, more than a proposal, but it's a proposal itself. And it's basically the proposal EP11 from ENS. And the proposal EP11 from ENS, it says, end the ENS and EP2 airdrops. So basically it's for that. The idea of ending the airdrop, there was an idea on a proposal to extend the possibilities to claim the airdrops from ENS. That window has closed, and now they will execute and finalize the possibility to claim ENS. So if you had bought a ENS in the past before the airdrop, if you bought one, if you had the reverse record set, all this stuff, and you haven't claimed your ENS, you have until May the 4th to claim it. If you don't, then those ENS won't be claimable anymore. And this proposal started on April the 20th, and it ended today. And it has voted on favor of ending the ENS airdrop, and with 1.7 million ENS tokens on that, 99% of approval, and 824 tokens on it. So yeah, it's very simple. They will put all the tokens on the contract. They will transfer them to the DAO wallet, and that will be all. What do you think about? Did you claim your ENS tokens, T-Wells? I'm hoping you did.
Oh yeah, yes, I did. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I don't know what just happened there. It looks like the snapshot was having some issues, so it's back up now. Or no, still having issues. Sorry, I can't get it on screen, guys. I'll keep trying. I did claim my airdrop last year, right? And yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And I think, you got to close the book on it at some point in time, right?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure there is a bunch of unclaimed ENS tokens out there. It will be interesting to see how many of them were claimed. And then the last proposal that we have for today is a Shapeshift One, SCP-76, Join Water, the new paradigm for sustainable liquidity. So, what is your idea of water? Before we start this conversation, have you take a deep into that? Do you know what it is about? What do you know?
Yeah, man. So let me see if I can actually get the gardens, because there was a proposal. Because bottom line, snapshot is not coming up on the front end for some reason. I don't really know why. So I'm gonna keep the OneHive page up here just for the time being, folks. If you're watching us on YouTube, we'll switch over as soon as we get something to show you there. Water is the brainchild of I know Paul 2. If you know Paul 2, was talking about this back at like ETH Denver, and I know earlier than that actually it was when he sort of was discussing how it might take shape and starting to reach out to people who would have insights on it. And the goal is to, so yeah, it's essentially like twofold. One part is to collaborate, like DAO to DAO collaboration, to try to deepen mutual liquidity. Right, at the end of the day, that's sort of the goal, is to get a group of DAOs together that are interested in generating greater liquidity for their project tokens across different dexes, right? And so this partnership, or really this it's like a collaboration, right, between all those DAOs I think you mentioned earlier. And if I can get it up on screen soon, I'll show it to everybody. But there's like half dozen DAOs I think that are participating in this on Gnosis chain.
Yeah.
And it is to create, as I say, as the title indicates, right, sustainable liquidity. And it is a novel approach to my knowledge, and I don't think that there are other projects or DAOs that have attempted something like this. So like, it's interesting to see how this pans out, and it isn't, of course, without risk. Certain individuals within the coalition essentially have voiced concerns over certain things, right? And it's important to pay attention to that. But like, it's also exciting because I think that if you reach critical mass with the participants, then you can really see something unique happen. So without getting any further into the technicals, the second part that I think is worth noting is that the water token, so like, okay, so the first principle to understand is that tokens in AMMs, right? So any sort of Uniswap derivation, right? Like that has two sides to the liquidity pools, keeping things simple, right? Like, though, like the tokens that are deposited into liquidity pools, and you deposit as an LP, they develop a unique economic relationship. Okay, and that means that they typically move together, right? So like, if you had one token that was its deepest liquidity was paired with ETH, and another token that was virtually identical and its deepest liquidity was paired with USDC. Okay, like over the longer term, those tokens are going to perform differently because of the token that they're paired with. Okay, what this means is if you have a half dozen DAOs that are all pairing their token with water itself, the water token will become like an index for the performance of those participating DAOs. So it's an interesting project. I think people should definitely take a look at it. I'm glad you raised it. I do. That's about the limit of my knowledge. We should get like Paul on to discuss a little more, maybe. I don't know if you have any additional stuff you thinking or know about this. What's on your mind, man?
No, what you explained, it's basically correct. They, on the proposal, for example, they just added a little bit more on saying that water is a new protocol, currently under development from the 1.5 community, that was designed for the sole purpose of providing sustainable liquidity for governance tokens. Water is assembling the first cohort of projects to help launch Water, and Shapeshift DAO it's invited to the pool party. So basically, the participants will be OneHive, Shapeshift, Bright ID, Giveth, Panvala, Opolis, Agave, and Token Engineering Commons. So familiar faces, the ones that we see here. And they explain on the token economics part that Water will only be minted in order to provide liquidity for DAOs, subject to the approval of the Water Multisig Committee. The only way to acquire Water will be to buy it. Water will not be airdropped nor rewarded for community members. Why would somebody want to buy Water? Water will act as an index token for DAOs. So if you like DAOs, Water is a great way to get exposure to a vetted basket. Regardless, even if there is a zero demand of Water, it will still serve its primary purpose of enabling a proof DAO to increase the liquidity on DX without the need of an expensive farming program. If the price of the majority of the governance tokens participating increases, Water price will increase and will bring folks with that. And of course, vice versa. So that's a little bit of the technical aspect. They also, for example, for the case of Fox and Shapeshift, they say that in order to participate in Water, 2 members of the Shapeshift community must be appointed to represent the DAO on the Water Multisig Committee. Next step will be that Shapeshift DAO and other launch partner will each transfer 1,100 of their governance token, in this case, Fox, to the Water Multisig and Gnosis chain. The Water Multisig community will then mint 100,000 Water to deposit alongside each partner's tokens to a liquidity pool on Honeyswap. If Shapeshift or any other partner ever wants to exit the program, the Water Multisig will withdraw the liquidity and return 85 of the tokens that were in the LP at the time of the withdrawal, 50% of penalty. The benefits are like participating in Water will increase, in this case, Fox security on Gnosis chain at no upfront or ongoing cost to the DAO. The Fox token will be included in one of the first index tokens for DAOs. And if the experiment is successful, more projects will join, and Shapeshift DAO will have played a critical role in launching a new paradigm for sustainable liquidity. The drawbacks is that the Fox price will have additional correlations to the price of Water and the price of other participating projects' tokens, and the 15% of penalty if they ever want to exit, and also that Water is an experimental protocol, and in worst case scenario, the price of Water could go to zero, and we could lose the 100,000 Fox. So those are the drawbacks. What do you think?
I mean, I'm sort of structurally biased here, so I think it's interesting, and it's like, an experiment like this is only as good as the projects that are supporting it. So when I look at the list of projects, I'm bullish, right? Again, not financial advice. I don't know how this is all going to pan out. This is highly experimental. But you got a great list of projects there. I mean, you have a list of projects there with really smart people, and they're all in it for the long game. Like these are, I mean, look at the list. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I know we're biased here, but in order for certain experiments to come off, right, I think the right combination of partners is really important. And again, I'm biased here, but I think this will be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, we'll see how this unfolds. So I guess it will take quite a bit of time for it to be implemented, but it is interesting nevertheless, and we will keep track of this, see if any of these projects didn't pass the vote on their snapshot. So far, it is approval 100% on the Shapeshift snapshot, with 2.5 million Fox tokens on it for approval of this proposal, and we had 46 voters on this. Of course, there are still 3 days more of voting, so this could change. So we will see. And with that, that's all I got for today.
That was a lot, man. That was awesome. You got a lot of cool stuff in. And jammed everybody who joined and was tuning in here, sharing their comments on YouTube. And anybody got comments, questions, anything they'd like to chime in on, we can always get you up on stage here, of course. It is the end of the hour here, so I know Edu has to go. But again, the One Hive TV chat channel is always a great place to drop your ideas and comments about anything we're talking about here. But yeah, Edu, I know you're going to be out next week, though. Is that right? So we're going to miss you for a week, my man.
Correct. Yes, I will hopefully catch up to all of the stuff. Not next Monday, but on Monday, the 9th of May. So hopefully I will see you guys on the 9th. How do you say that? Monday the 9th?
Monday the 9th. Yeah.
You tell me, T.
Yeah, Monday the 9th.
There you
that
go.
Sounds good.
Monday the 9th.
Yeah, dude. And you're going to London, right?
I'm going to London for a week almost. Correct.
Word, man. Travel safe. Have fun.
Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for joining here today, and look forward to see you next Monday. Take care.
We see you then, man. GM. All right, and everybody here in the Discord server on YouTube, jam to all of you as well. Of course, appreciate you joining us today. Kicking the week off with an hour of news from around the DAO space there. Folks, that was probably the most alpha, I think, in any show that we've done. So if you were tuning in, awesome. Any thoughts, comments, additions, please don't hesitate to drop a comment in the OneHive TV channel. Head over to 1HTV on YouTube. Okay, we're going to be doing some experimentation there with POAP distribution. We're going to be doing some NFTs to folks that tune in on YouTube. We think there's a lot of value add there. That's where the true TV aspect of this comes into play. We got some great screen shares and other stuff that we do show on screen there. We're going to be doing a drawing in a little bit later. People who engage with us on Twitter. We said we'll be doing some honey distribution. We did trivia. We did this with trivia last week. We're not going to do that this week. We're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to spin the wheel, if we can, with people's names who interacted with the tweet about today's show. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and do a little halftime break here. I'm going to get some music up on the Hydra that's from our one and only Miguel, who is a contributor to the TV project and produces some awesome Spanish language indie rock. So we'll get some tunes up here for a couple minutes, and then we're going to be back on the other side of the hour with DAO Exchange. So Brian is going to be joining us from DAO Exchange, and we'll be chatting with him towards the bottom of the following hour. Okay, so like 12:30, we had to push by about 30 minutes. He had to join at the bottom of the hour, so it's we're just hanging out here, right? We just doing the Monday stream for several hours as we do most Mondays. So we're going to take a break here. And I'll be back to talk a little bit more about OneHive and some other things that I have to share with all of y'all before we invite our guest on today. But GM, everybody, again, don't forget to head over to 1HTV on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, everybody, GM. We're back here for a second. If you are joining us in Discord, check out the One Hive TV chat channel. Linked up to the tweet earlier. We have a number of folks that retweeted and tagged, and we're going to spin the wheel. We got everybody's name on the wheel. If you're looking at YouTube, you can see it. We're going to do Wheel of Names, and we're going to give out $5 worth of honey to the winner here. Now we got 4 people in here right now. If you want a chance to win, you need to go up to the One Hive TV chat channel here in Discord. Open that tweet, retweet, tag somebody you know, and I'm gonna put like 5 minutes up on the clock. I tell you what, actually, I changed my mind. What we're gonna do is I tried to use the HydraBot, and something is technically wrong here. So I'm not really sure what the deal is with that, but I'm going to give a 5-minute timer, and we'll spin a tune. At least I'll spin a tune, you spin a tune. As soon as we get the music thing sorted, hopefully we'll be able to use that as our time marker. But I'm going to give it 5 minutes right now. Anybody wants to engage with the tweet, we can put your name up here on the wheel, and we'll do this now, and then we might do it again at the end of the guest segment, and we might do it with a trivia at that point in time, though. So stick around for the guest segment if you want another chance to win. But right now, you got 5 minutes for this first go-around for free crypto. Engage with the tweet. Let's see how many people we can get taking a look at what we're doing here each Monday. Help us share this good content for a chance to win. 5-minute timer's up now, and we'll be back with more. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and wrap up this segment of the show. So I got a A little additional engagement there. I think we got 5 people total in the mix now. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the wheel. Check it out. If you want to see it spin here, we're going to select a random individual from these 5, and they will win $5 in honey here. So the names we got from Twitter, I'm going to go with for this first round: Rohek, we got Hernando, we got Crispy, Cryptina, we got Cyberpokey, and we got Lapin JP. Okay, so I apologize if I mispronounce anybody's name. But those are the 5 we got. We're going to go ahead and spin here, and the winner will get $5 in honey. You can tune in again towards the end of the show or next week for a chance to win. Here we go. We're going to spin the wheel, and Lapin JP, congratulations. All right, so then this is the deal. If you're in Discord, Lapin, if you're in Discord, you need to DM me with your wallet address. Okay, so DM me your OX. We'll send you some honey. And we're going to talk momentarily about how you can use your honey if you do hold it. We're going to talk a little more about news from around the DAO space here, and then we'll welcome our guest from DAO Exchange at the bottom of the hour. I want to give a big ups to Rohek, as always, for doing, helping really make the show possible, and doing the distribution, event creation for all things POAP, as well as helping to make sure that people in the chat, etc., are informed and helping to engage with people. Really appreciate all that you do each week, my man. You can follow Rohek on Twitter. He's actually, so his handle is Rohek Benitez 20 on Twitter. He's a great artist there, and is contributing in a number of DAOs. So I want to make sure we give the big ups to Rohek each week. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody else for tuning in today. Welcome to everybody here on the Discord. Once again, if you want to tune in on YouTube, you can go to YouTube, 1HTV on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, get notifications every time we go live, which is several times a week. As mentioned at the top of the hour, last hour, we got today's show, of course, is a weekly Monday show. See a lot of familiar faces here, new people as well. GM to all of you. And we every time we do a show here on the Discord stage in the One Hive server, we, of course, are also live streaming a TV component on YouTube. We'll have a show tomorrow starting at 6 p.m. Eastern with Billy Jitsu at the late night show. He's got a lot of great insights to share. Again, if you're in crypto for like the alpha, if you're looking for really doing serious fundamental analysis, that's in part what our first hour of our Monday show is for. But that's a much more like 30,000 foot view. So if you've been listening for the last hour, right, every Monday we'll look at Snapshot. Eduardo presents some great research for us to keep track of key stories on the Snap and in DAO governance in general. I'll also give a plug for the Messari dashboard, or the proposal tracker, Messari.io. You check them out as well. They got a great way for you to track that fundamental, do fundamental analysis as it intersects with governance activity at certain DeFi projects that you might be interested in. But Tuesday is really going to be focusing on specific topics, whether it's project specific or like news or a drama on Twitter or whatever. Billy does an amazing job of catching important stuff and really having some penetrating insights on all sorts of issues, particularly because he has a dev perspective, right? He is a unique individual in that he has mad dev skills and mad communication skills. Y'all feel me? And so he's just has a great breakdowns, right, of all sorts of stuff related to crypto. So you want to tune in for that 6 p.m. tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, which I believe is like 10 p.m. UTC. And that's on Tuesdays bi-weekly. He'll be streaming tomorrow. Then we have our weekly NFT and gaming show every 3 p.m. on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. We have that show. We've been trucking along with the Monday show weekly for several months now, right? So if you want to tune in, I'm going to say, if people have comments on this, please leave it in the One Hive TV chat here in Discord. The NFT and gaming show broadcasts from a location that is private, and they stream directly to YouTube. And so if you want to watch their show, you got to watch on YouTube. And we're considering doing that. I'm going to may experiment one Monday, maybe next Monday, maybe the next one, where we don't end up broadcasting from this location. We'll see. We're entertaining either Twitter Spaces or other options, or maybe even a private server. And I don't know how that would turn out, if people would like to see that. If they prefer just listening to the audio here in the server, if you feel strongly either way, leave a comment in the One Hive TV chat. Love to hear from you about that. We're just experimenting, trying to figure out what works best. And it's, of course, awesome to see everybody here with us in the Discord, and we don't want to change that too much, but let us know what you're thinking in terms of broadcast location. Another thing to note is that the One Hive server is currently under like private remodeling. Essentially, we're spinning up a couple of drafts for alternative setups to make things easier to access and understand. So like I've mentioned this in previous streams, but if you're just new to the One Hive Discord, it is a bit difficult to sort of find your way around if you're new, and so we're trying to take that into consideration and do an overhaul of the Discord. But that's probably a good place to start. We'll talk about One Hive a bit here for the next 10 minutes or so, 10, 15, and then we'll invite Brian on to join us from DAO Exchange. So we'll use that as a segue. If you're watching on 1HTV on YouTube, you'll see that the homepage there is onehive.org. And you can access pretty much everything that we have to offer as a DAO from this webpage. Really easy to remember, really easy to share with other people. Hive, hive.org. And we'll start with the Discord here. So if you're here in Discord and you're up at the very top, we're going to try to keep the events posted, particularly the shows that are going to be going live, such as the one that we're having right now. But ultimately, I think you can find Gen Chat and anything you're interested in under the open section. And depending on the role selects that you make, other channel sections will become available to you. But I think that under the Swarm section in particular, this is where there's quite a lengthy list of internal projects that have been going on from time to time inside the One Hive DAO. There's a lot of them there, right? And many of them currently are dormant. Okay, I think that ultimately there's going to be, sort of a reshuffling here, so that particularly Gardens and One Hive TV are more easily accessible. These are the two projects where the majority of the energy in the DAO is right now. So there's an enormous list, and this is under the process of revision. We're not going to be. I really hope that we don't need to delete anything. I think making dormant swarms will probably be in the future for the server. But one thing to note here is just you see this list of stuff, like all of these things have played at one point or another a really important role in the DAO, right? And some, when we say dormant, I think that's really what it is, in the sense that like certain swarms are more or less relevant depending on the evolutionary like point of the DAO, but I don't think ever become irrelevant. Like if they're fundamental, right, they could circle back. So but the point I'm trying to make here is that this list of swarms is really, I think, a testament to the experimental nature of the One Hive DAO. And I think we have more experimentation going on here in like a relatively horizontal framework than most other DAOs, right? And I mean, if you were to scroll through these channels, you'll find everything from the DEX to the wallet to farms that we've done to governance front ends and new types of escrow protocols to experimentation with source cred and different ways of like reputation building and like tokenization of activity in Discord to decentralized social media marketing like curation. We have obviously the Agave program is a project that spun up the first lending and borrowing protocol on Gnosis chain, and we have sort of an education component in Morphosis. The Common Swarm is a place where the TEC Common Stack giveth One Hive all sort of congregate. Hivecraft is our own Minecraft server. I believe right now it is not functional, but we have, and they built, right, members of the DAO actually built an amazing server and NFT'd all of the land. And so we got One Hive TV, we got a Treasury Swarm that's been working on a really cutting edge Treasury diversification stuff with particularly hedgy finance, which we'll probably have on in the coming weeks as well. We have, I'm just trying to, list these things off. There is a shit ton of stuff that has been going on at One Hive over the last couple of years. And so if you're interested in contributing and getting involved, there is an onboarding call every week on Thursdays. This is something that should be, I think, posted as an event, and we can do that soon. But you go to the Buzz Swarm to learn more if you want to sort of hop in on the marketing side, help spread the word, or find out a way to contribute. Yeah, the One Hive TV project. Likewise, you're listening to one of the shows from One Hive TV. We do a number of them weekly. If you're interested in joining, contributing, got any comments about the show at all, you can go to the One Hive TV channel within that Swarms section, and you can interact with us. We'll answer questions. We could bring you up on onto the stage if you have a question or something you want to add, some insights you want to share about anything we're discussing. Let's talk about Honey use cases. Well, first of all, not financial advice, but I did mention earlier that Honey has performed quite well recently. I think that this is worthy of note because, this is also the same token that, last year did have some significant troubles, right? Not only in terms of price, but in terms of liquidity. And I think that, as a truly grassroots community-driven DAO, there is no VC money here, folks. Like there's no, right? There is none of that. And so to the extent that OneHive has been successful, it has been due to, the efforts of people who have really, taken the lead from time to time in the different projects that DAO has had to offer. And so I do think that, of course, I'm seriously biased, but as a Honey holder here, but I think that it's definitely worth exploring Gnosis Chain in particular. If you haven't gone over to what used to be XDAI, Gnosis Chain, you can check out a number of different bridges to bring assets over. So you can go to Connext, you can do hop.exchange. There's a number of different ways to get assets over to Gnosis Chain. And there's a number of protocols, a lot of protocols that are deployed, particularly in the DeFi space, on chain. And we have actually produced a video that's going to be coming out in the next couple of days, I believe, on the Gnosis Chain YouTube. That is a showcase of all of the projects, particularly the DeFi ecosystem on the chain here. And so it's a great thing to explore. The projects that have been building here have been building here for quite a while, ever since it was XDAI. With Gnosis's acquisition and leadership, I think that this is an ecosystem that is poised to take advantage of sort of the lead up to ETH2. So with that in mind, again, I'm not going to do sort of a price chart thing. We are going to try to get a show on weekly where someone just comes on and is really good at talking price. That's not something that's necessarily my strong suit, but we do have folks. I'm asking Monstro, humbly beseech thee to join the show. I think you'd be a great individual to share sort of the bullish news with people on different projects, whether it's on Gnosis Chain or elsewhere. But if anybody has any questions, comments, again, about anything we're chatting about here, and particularly price action on anything, feel free to drop it in the OneHive TV chat. What I want to share here is, we'll take a look actually at the Honey chart for a second, and then I'll explain a little bit on the use case front. So let's see. So if we zoom out to the last year here, we see almost the sort of inversion of what we saw with like Bankless and some other tokens, where it's strange because Honey, when you had the pump last fall, right? Honey did not necessarily capture as much as that value, but the dump since the new year has also, if we look at, let's see here, the dump since the new year has not been quite as violent as it has with others. You have this major spike last year, and if you look back to late 2020, right? I think you've reached a similar bottom. Again, not financial advice here, but I do think checking out the Honey token and considering, its recent performance in the new year is something worthwhile. We got a lot of great partnerships with DAOs, particularly in and around Gnosis Chain. And so if you haven't had a chance, for example, to take a look at the Giveth farms, I definitely think that you should. We'll plug these for a second. And there's some, we can sort of, we can segue from here. If you haven't been to the Giveth project before, you should definitely go there. Giveth.io, Giveth. Giveth.io. This is now a project that is working to essentially really transform how people think about giving to charitable organizations and in the support of public goods. So they have launched the Giving Economy. This is new as of the last couple months. It's not new. It's been around for a bit, but they have some great opportunities here, I think, to support really grassroots community-driven DAOs, as well as get exposure to certain tokens that you might otherwise not be on Gnosis Chain. Of course, the Give token is the token of the Giveth DAO, and you can see here there are certain farming opportunities, either pairing it with Honey or with Ether. if you bridge it over from mainnet. There are opportunities specifically on Ethereum mainnet. We're not going to take a look at that right now, actually. We'll stick on Gnosis chain. You can give single-sided staking here, around 180. And then, of course, we have the regen farms. And this is one where we see the partnership and liquidity between Shapeshift, the Fox token, and the OneHive DAO. This has been a really great collaboration on a number of fronts. You heard Edu share about the water proposal and the water project earlier last hour, and this is something that Willie and others at Shapeshift have helped to champion as well. And this, of course, this LP position is paying quite nicely, and it's been hovering around 130, between 130 140. And if you don't, it is important to note, like, these are sort of classic farming opportunities, but the way that this works within the gig economy is super interesting. So I'll do a quick rundown of this, and then we hopefully will break for a couple minutes and then invite our guest on to talk about DAO Exchange, starting at the bottom of the hour. But if you are deciding to participating in any of these farming opportunities on the gig economy, so this would be give.giveth.io, or giveth.io/givefarm. Then when you go to harvest, when you go to harvest any type of yield that you acquire, the yield itself is then split into several parts. In other words, you do not receive all of it immediately. Another portion of it is it is streamed to you over time, right? So if you decide to participate in a farm and you want to collect your yield when you go to harvest of it, a portion of it will be directed to, in this UI, what is referred to as your give stream, okay? And so if you are on the UI and you go all the way over to the right, you will find that, and you will see that you have a certain flow rate, okay, and this is the amount of give that you receive per week. So it is, in a way, essentially, it's in a concise way. I think it's a way to vest a portion of your farming rewards. Okay, it's like auto vesting a certain portion of your rewards, and of course, this is to protect the interests of the tokenized community, whether it is Giveth, OneHive, or Shapeshift, or anybody else who is any other communities that are participating in the regen farms. And so, yeah, glad to share a little bit about that with all y'all today. Again, head over to onehive.org if you want to learn a little bit more about OneHive, about the Honey token, and ways that you can get involved with the DAO. We're going to take a quick break here for a few minutes, and then we'll be back at the bottom of the hour with our guest to talk about DAO Exchange. GM, everybody.